Everybody, JC here with another TNI toy review, and today's review is in association with JediInsider.com, your #1 news source for everything Star Wars. And today we're going to take a look at the new Star Wars The Black Series 6-inch Stormtrooper figure from Hasbro. This figure is part of Hasbro's third wave in the 6-inch Black Series line. This figure, other figures in this series also include the Bespin Luke, and Episode 2 Obi-Wan Kenobi, and a repackaged Han Solo. This is figure number 9 in the series, and like with all the Black Series figures, this figure comes packaged in pretty standard box window packaging. You've got the Star Wars The Black Series logo up at the top. You've got a little medallion image of the Stormtrooper in the right corner. Then the figure's clearly displayed with its accessories in the window box packaging, and then below that you've got the name of the character and the number 9. As I said, it's number 9 in the series. Then on the one side you have another window so you can see the figure from the side, and then on the back you have a little brief bio for the Stormtrooper up at the top, and then you've got some picture of some Stormtroopers, looks like in the Death Star or something, and you've got the orange Death Star type lighting border on the back of the packaging as well on the front. So, as I always say with these, the packaging is pretty kind of, standard and somewhat boring and generic, but it does give you a good look at the figure before you're purchasing it, which is nice. But let's get the figure open and take a look at what's inside. So here's a look at the figure outside of the packaging. This Stormtrooper is very clean. There's not a lot in the way of, in fact, there's really no paint washes at all. It's basically, the armor is completely white. There's no dirt like we saw with the Sand Trooper in Wave 1. Now, as far as the mold goes, this is essentially the exact same figure mold that was used for the Sand Trooper in Wave 1. So if you have that figure, you know pretty much what you're getting with this one. But like I said, it's a lot cleaner. There are some differences with the paint, a few differences with paint apps, besides not having the dirt on it. For instance, on his chest midsection area, he's got these black dots where you don't have that on the Desert Trooper. Some little variations like on the helmet with the blue coloring up at the top here. This is gray. This area is gray, whereas on the Desert Trooper it's blue, and then like the blue here is much darker, and again you've got gray here instead of blue. But for the most part, we are talking about the same figure. Now, another area where the figure is a little bit different is with the belt. This figure comes with the standard Stormtrooper belt with holster. It's got the little compartment or canister, whatever these things are, on the back of the belt, like you see with the Stormtroopers, which is different. Plus, he's got the white. His pouches are white as opposed to black. So there are some variations there again with the paint and everything. Now, this belt is not removable. Like Han Solo has a Stormtrooper belt that is removable, but this one is not. And then, like I said, this Imperial Stormtrooper is just much cleaner. There's not really any paint washes. He's a very crisp white, which I actually like. Sometimes with figures, when they're all white like this, you have a tendency to get like a blue highlight in it. And I really like that this is basically crisp white, and then with the black colors on it. It looks really good and clean. Now, there are a few little nicks on my figure. Like here on the chest area, you can see a little black mark, and then down here on his calf area, nothing major, but you do have a few little nicks on my figure coming out of the package. Now, one thing I want to note, because again this is basically the same mold that was used for the Desert Trooper, this figure has the hole on his back for the Desert Trooper backpack like that figure had. Of course, he doesn't come with the backpack, but if you have, the backpack from the Desert Trooper, you can put it on this figure as well. So if you would like, if you want a Desert Trooper that's not so dirty, you can actually turn this figure into a Desert Trooper by, taking the the shoulder thing and the backpack and adding it to this figure. And then you essentially have a Desert Trooper if you want. So for accessories, this figure comes with a blaster rifle. I don't really recall regular Imperial Stormtroopers ever using a rifle like this, at least not in the movies, possibly in the video games or something. And I could be wrong, but I don't really recall them using a rifle like this. But the figure does come with a larger rifle, which is pretty nice. Nice detailing with the sculpt. It's basically just a all black color, but there is some nice detailing with the sculpt in the rifle. And then the other accessory he comes with is the standard issued Stormtrooper rifle, which we've seen with the Desert Trooper and also seen with like Han Solo. Basically, this is the same weapon we've seen already. And again, some all black, but some nice, detailing with the sculpt and everything. It is kind of a soft rubber, so it does have a tendency to bend, especially when you're trying to like get the figure to hold it in two hands. So that's just something you want to be wary of. And then the figure has a working holster, so you can put the standard issue blaster in the holster, and it fits nicely. Okay, so as far as articulation goes, this is basically the exact same that we saw with the Desert Trooper. So if you have that figure, you know what to expect with this one. The head is just attached to a ball joint. Now, like with the Desert Trooper, the ball joint on this figure is bigger than most of the other figures. So you can't really interchange like the heads from your Luke Skywalker or Han Solo figures on this figure to kind of make a custom made Han and Luke and Stormtrooper disguise, unfortunately. But the head you do get a good range of movement on the head. He can look up, he can look down, and he can look left and right with no problem. The shoulders are standard ball hinge joints. Now, with the way the armor pieces on the shoulder are sculpted, he cannot put his arm all the way out. That's about as far out as he can put the arm out, but he does have good rotation. You can spin the arm. And then he's got a tricep swivel, and he's got a double hinged elbow, so he's got good bending at the elbow, and then he's got a swivel hinged at the wrist, so he can do his wrist down and up. He's got the swivel midsection joint, so he's got swivel there, and he can look down pretty good, especially with the head. But he does have some bending at the ab crunch, and then he can go back with the ab crunch as well. He's got basically the same type of leg articulation that you see with all the other figures. He can't really do the splits very well. A, because of the way the armor pieces are sculpted, and B, because of the pouches come down on the belt. That's about as far out as he can do the splits. And he can do the leg forward about that much. And then he can't really, because of the way, again, the armor pieces, he can't really put his leg back too much. And he's got double hinged knees, so he's got good bending at the knees. And like with the Desert Trooper, he's got the one leg where he's got kind of the armor comes up over the knee, and then on the other leg, it's just got the piece that goes around the leg, which is movie accurate. And then he's got the hinged feet with the pivot, ankle pivot. So he's got good movement in the ankles. So like I said, if you have the Desert Trooper, then you pretty much know what to expect as far as articulation goes on this figure. Okay, so that does it for my review. Overall, not a lot of differences between this figure and the Sand Trooper released in Wave 1, other than, primarily it's just clean. But because the Stormtroopers are such an important part of the Star Wars universe, and obviously this is an army builder, I'm sure people are going to snap this one up just like they did with the Desert Trooper. But if you have that figure, you essentially know what you're getting with this one. Good articulation, good detail, nice accessory, so it's definitely a good solid figure worth adding to your collection if you can find it. This figure, along with the rest of Wave 3, is starting to hit e-tailers now and should probably start hitting the box retailers within the next few weeks. So that's my review. I hope you enjoy it. Until next time, I'll catch you later.